What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Brand Builder TV, where we want to share with you and show you how to brand and market in 2020, not 2004, right? The biggest difference between the two, 2004, it's what you knew and who you knew. 2020, it's what you know, but who knows you. That's the game changer. I'm really excited for this episode. This man is the king of masterminds. If you want to learn how to build a very influential mastermind, this is the guy to talk to, and that's just one of the irons he has in the fire. And what I love about it is he's walking the walk, he walks the walk, he talks the talk, and that's who I want to connect with, people that have been there, done it, and are continuing to do it and grow and expand outside. So, Bedros, give us that 30,000-foot view, big man.
Hey, first of all, Dave, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. What an honor it is, and I love your passion and energy, and that is 90% of getting the business done is passion and energy. The 30,000-foot level view is this, man. I'm the immigrant that came to this country from a communist country when I was 6 years old in 1980. I'm 45 now. I've had the good fortune to understand that this country will give you anything you want as long as you serve people first and you show up authentically. What I mean by that is don't front, don't pose, don't try to be someone you're not. You're either going to polarize the people who don't like you, but you're also going to polarize the people who do like you and want to do business with you. And I'm a big believer in coming with service, solving problems, and being authentic, and it's served me really well with our big international franchise, our self-development programs that we have, and of course, our masterminds, 3 different masterminds where we get to help so many entrepreneurs scale and structure their businesses. Yep.
Love it, man. And that's the quote right there. Your vulnerability becomes your credibility.
Yes, sir. That's it.
It's it, right? It becomes your credibility, especially in 2020, 21, 22. Let's talk about, because you have so many different irons in the fire, this is a perfect starting point question, I should say, is, because I'm a firm believer, it's not what you do, but how you do it. Right. And I know that's a big part of your message is, and I'm going to butcher this and you need to clean this up for me, but because it's your quote, is how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah. How you do anything is how you do everything.
It's exactly. How you do everything. So again, that maps back to it's not what you do, but how you do it. So share with us what are some of the big changes that have to be understood to now grow and expand in 2020, 21, 22 versus 2004. And I'm just pulling 2004 out of the air because It is such a polar opposite time that we live in.
Well, that's a great example, though. The difference between marketing and growing a business in 2004 versus marketing and growing a business in 2020 is simple. Back then, it used to be word of mouth, right? Some person had a great experience. They told one other person through word of mouth. They had a bad experience. They told one other person. Today, it's word of mouth, meaning if I have a great experience at Dave's place, I'm going to go online and I'm going to leave something on my social media. I'm going to leave something on Google reviews, on Yelp. And if I don't have a great experience, I'm certainly going to tell the world as well. And so we have to understand that we can control the messaging that the client experiences simply by meeting their expectations and then exceeding them. No more is it going to be like, hey, I delivered crappy service to someone, but it's going to get isolated to that one person because who are they? They live in a tiny little town. No one's ever going to know because all they have to do is log on to this little device and they will let the world know all about you, good or bad. And that's the significant difference that many entrepreneurs have yet to grasp onto.
I love that. I'm going to share a real quick story of a friend of yours, an acquaintance of mine, Andy Frisilla.
Yeah.
This is an honest story. 2 years ago, I wanted to see what the headbands were made of for my own marketing. I bought one headband from his company, but at that time, probably between $200 to $400 million company, something like that. Anyway, long story short, I bought one headband, never bought anything from that company before. They didn't know me from Adam. The headband comes with a receipt. The bottom of the receipt's a handwritten note and says, hey, hope all is well. Anything we could do, please reach out, Wayne, right? A handwritten note. That I posted that every single where. And the reason I share that story is is twofold. It maps back to the 2 points that we're making. Is how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So he is walking a walk,
Mm-hmm.
and it's no, success leaves clues, right? And then it also, it's not what you do, but how you do it. What we're talking about in 2020 and 21, 22. So I definitely thought of that story when you were sharing that. So let's pull a niche out of the air. If you're a real estate agent and you've been a real estate agent for a few years now, and you're looking to want to grow and expand, what are you going to do in 2020, 21, 22?
Well, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm looking to expand in 2020, 21, 22, to me, it seems pretty simple. I'm going to go away. See, it's funny. Outside eyes is everything, because even now I could drive through the streets of Chino Hills and you see bus benches, and then you see shopping carts. Those are the two, like, real estate agents are attracted to bus benches and shopping cart things where they post their giant head, and then of course their name, and then what, ERA or Century 21, whoever they work for. I don't care about your face. I don't care about your face. I want to know that I will get the most amount of money with the least amount of friction while selling my house. And what I'd love to see is a testimonial on a bus bench, on a shopping cart, or even better yet, let's go to the World Wide Web and talk about social media and Yelp, etc. Because now that real estate agent's going to be in my house. So I'm going to do a quick little search by putting in your name, Dave Daly, real estate agent, San Diego. And hopefully, if Dave did his job right, all these review sites are popping up, like Facebook reviews, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, telling me that Dave sold my house. It was an easy experience. There was low friction, and I got the massive amount of money for it. I don't care what Dave looks like. I care about the results Dave produces. And by pumping out social proof as a real estate agent, I am more likely as a customer to give you my house or buy a house through you. And that's the difference. It used to be ego driven. Look at me. I'm a real estate agent. Look at me. I'm a lawyer. We still see the big billboards. You got to get away from that. Now it's all about, how can I serve you, instead of, look how awesome I am, you should come do business with me. The moment that mindset shifts, and then we use internet to literally force multiply the message, the internet, especially social media and review sites, are like taking a V8 engine and putting a blower, a super on it. The message exponentially grows. And when message grows, so does income, impact, and influence.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Social proof is everything, right? Social proof is everything in today's world. And for people that are questioning that, look back, and I'm going to ask you this question. I know the answer to it is, if you look back in 2004, all we saw was Century 21 signs, Keller Williams signs, and some other signs, right? Now it's the individual. That, again, where we're at today versus 2004. And I'm a big firm believer, and I know you are too. And I've actually been to your place a few times, and was fortunate enough to have sat in some of your classes. So I know I have a good idea how you think is when it comes to business. The evolution train is leaving with or without you. Are you getting run over? Or are you going to jump on? Right? It's that. I believe that's the caveat. That's the punchline to business in 2020, 21, 22. And I know the other thing that is a big wheelhouse of yours is the fitness world, right? And personal trainers. And some of the things, share with the audience, right? Over the last few years, some of the transitions and things that you've kind of mapped out, really, to be honest with you, because I know one of your stories is, you wanted to start masterminds with personal trainers a few years back, and they looked at you like you had three heads.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone told me that personal trainers don't have the money.
They're broke.
They're broke. They're not business minded. They just want to be in a gym wearing spandex. Everybody was projecting their feelings of what they thought a personal trainer was. No trainer has $30,000 to pay for a year of coaching with you, let alone getting 20 or 30 of them in a room. How are you going to do that? You're out of your mind. They're not professionals. I, on the other hand, was like, well, I was a personal trainer. I was a professional. I saw myself no different than a doctor, an attorney, an architect. I didn't treat my clients any different than a doctor would treat their patients. So there's surely got to be more of me. And when I was making money, I could afford $30,000 for coaching. There was no coach around for my industry. So I went to guys like Dan Kennedy and Joe Polish, who were direct response writers. And Joe Polish was from the carpet cleaning industry because there was no expert in my world. So I said, I'm going to fill those shoes. And that's the difference. It's like there's that story where there's a shoe company and they're growing internationally, and they send one of their shoe salesmen to this remote island. And of course, he lands there and he looks around. He goes, "Oh my God, these are all savages. They're all barefoot." He finds the nearest payphone and he goes, "You got to bring me back. These are savages. They're barefoot. They don't wear shoes. I'm not going to be able to sell shoes." So they bring him back. They send the other sales guy over, and he goes, "Send me all the shoes you have. These people are barefoot. They need our shoes." It's all dependent on the lens that you look at life through, man. And I look at life through as, if I have a solution to a problem that you're experiencing, Dave, you will find the money for that solution, because the pain that you're experiencing is greater than the money you're trying to hold on to. So if you have pain, I've got solution to the pain. It's my duty and obligation to give that to you in exchange for the money. No different than if I said, "Hey, Dave, do you have $100,000 in the next, 5 hours to give me?" And you might say, "No, I don't." Now I'm going to pull up a brand new Lamborghini and I'm going to say, "All right, you see this Lamborghini Aventador? Well, I'm going to give it to you, sell it to you for $100,000 if you can get it to me in the next 5 hours." You will find a way, because the value of that Lamborghini, as you know, is like $300,000. You'll find a way to get me the 100 grand like this, so that you can flip the car and make yourself $200,000. So value always trumps price. And that's the thing that most people don't understand in business. You will find the most obscure niche and find the problem that they have, the pain that they have, be the solution to it, and you will extract money in exchange for the solution.
I love that. And let's go a little deeper on the value. And I'm a big believer that, and you hear this all the time in the position you're in, and the people that you interact with a lot, is, Bedros, especially I'm sure people that you just met, Bedros, how do I want security. I want security in life. I want security in my relationships. I want security in my business. I want security in my job. And I believe it's pretty simple. Bring more value than the next person. When you bring more value than the next person, your security is guaranteed. So
Bingo.
I'd love to hear for you to go a little deeper on that, right? Because you do have a full staff. You do have, again, a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah. So, and to that point, you make a very good point. I mean, there's two basic human needs. And the first one is, we want some kind of security. Certainty is the first basic human need. Interestingly enough, the second basic human need is uncertainty. In other words, I want to be certain that there's going to be air when I go to take another breath. I want water. I want food. I want shelter, certainty. But I want a little bit of uncertainty in my life. I'm not going to have steak every day. I want some pizza now and again. I want a hamburger. We like to jazz things up, right? So we know that. So I understand that the basic human need of certainty or security, as you say, is important. Well, how do you do that? You become this person that you're not replaceable, right? You can't be replaced if you bring the most to the table. And so when I look at my team out there, they're not employees. I look at every single one of my team members as intrapreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. I will take the big risk. I will come up with the big dream and the vision. I will empty out my bank accounts to create this international franchise and buy this giant building and staff it with humans. I'll take the big risk as the entrepreneur. As the intrapreneur, if you're the web developer, can you make the website load faster, get more clicks, convert higher? And if so, you become indispensable to me. I cannot get rid of you. You bring so much value that I must pay you to stay. On the flip side, if the other guy's like, the website crashes every now and again, it loads, it doesn't, it converts, it doesn't, I'm not really interested in really making it any better. Well, guess what? You are now replaceable. And just like that, the entrepreneur, you and I are replaceable. The moment I become less disciplined, less structured. I lose clarity of vision. I can no longer communicate my mission to my team. They're going to fire me by going out and getting a new job. So I'm replaceable as well. And the moment we understand that, we show up every day with value. And the more value you show up with, the more you create security.
I love that. And I want people to understand, make no mistake, everything you just shared maps directly back to your personal relationships and your intimate relationships. If you want that security, bring more value than that other person.
That's it.
In no matter what relationship that you have. So yeah, awesome, man. Great gold nuggets. So give us because you built a lot of your brand around masterminds, and that maps back to surrounding yourself with the right people. Talk about how important that is, because from your perspective and from your experience.
I will tell you from firsthand experience that there's only two things that control what happens up here. The thoughts that occupy your mind and the people you surround yourself with, Dave, determine success or failure. That's it. That's the good news. People go, hey man, how many things do I need to do to be successful? Just two. Just two. Control the thoughts that occupy your mind, and then control your surroundings, your social surroundings, the people you surround yourself with. Because when I was a loser, and you wouldn't believe me when I tell you this, you're like, nah, there's no way you were a loser. No, I was. I came to this country. I'm a foreigner. I grew up fat. I was never into sports. I had low self-esteem. I got bullied and picked on. So I ended up getting into a lot of trouble with the law, doing home invasion robberies, police helicopter chases. I was a bully. I got bullied, and then I became a bully. And then karma enacted justice, because there was massive karmic debt that I had to pay off. And so when I was around negative people and when I had negative thoughts, I'm just blue collar, I'm never going to be successful, I might as well go rob people and take their possessions by force. Guess what? Life was not good. I'm always looking over my shoulder, having a hard time sleeping, stressing out. In fact, I got beat up by 13 gang members and ended up in the hospital. So you can imagine the karmic debt that I had to pay off. So I share this with you because when I became a personal trainer in my early 20s, my third personal training client, his name is Jim Franco, and I talk about him in my book, Man Up. Jim Franco started to mentor me, Dave. He started to, in between our workout sessions, he would just hang out for 15 or 20 minutes, and he called me kid. And I was in my 20s, and he's in his 60s. He goes, kid, why are you always tired on Monday mornings? I go, Jim, I'm not only a personal trainer here, but since I don't have a lot of clients, I work as a busboy at Disneyland. And then I'm a bouncer at a nightclub. And so by the time I get home and sleep, I sleep 2 hours and I show up here. He goes, well, because you don't know how to sell. I'm going to teach you how to sell. And he started to mentor me. He started to believe in me. He was the first person that ended up controlling my head, teaching me how to control my environment. He was the first positive influence in my environment. He was also the person that gave me a Tom Hopkins sales tape. And of course, Tom Hopkins is like one of the greatest in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s sales trainers in real estate. Tom Hopkins led to Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy led to Zig Ziglar to Jay Abraham. And before you know it, I'm deep diving into marketing and sales and influence. And very quickly, I start building a business and I gained the confidence. And all those cassette tapes that Jim Franco gave me ended up controlling the thoughts in my head. I was no longer negative. I was no longer the victim. I no longer pointed to others as the problem. I owned my problems. I ended up getting happier with my life as it was, instead of always saying, when this happens, then I'll be happy, right? Yeah. Because when you set expectations, you set yourself up to failure. When this happens, when she dates me, when I can deadlift so much more weight, then I'll be happy. Then you get the 400-pound deadlift, I'm not happy yet, I need 430. When you set those expectations, you're never going to reach those goals of happiness. So very quickly, I started to realize that I can control my thoughts. I can get more people like Jim Franco who are successful, optimistic, positive, growth-minded people around me. Holy smokes. And the moment I started to control my thoughts and the people surrounding me, I literally began to flourish, thrive. And I'm like, that's it? It's just two things? Thoughts that occupy my mind and people I surround myself with. So I am relentless in controlling the conversation that happens in here. Because, by the way, your followers, your tribe, Dave, need to know every day there's 51,000 thoughts that happen right up here in your head. Of that, 90% of those 51,000 thoughts that you have, same thing over and over again, 90%. Of the 51,000 thoughts, 80% are negative thoughts. So imagine the most important conversation you're having is with yourself all day long, and 80% of it is negative, 90% of it is about the same thing. And so the moment you can control the thoughts, quiet the mind, turn it into positive conversation, know how to change the dialogue when it turns negative, because I'm human, you're human, it is going to turn negative. And then you surround yourself with optimistic, growth-minded, positive, enthusiastic people, and then you are weeding your garden of negative people, toxic people, people who have a lower vibration, people who have a lower standards of expectations in life. Holy fuck, you thrive, man. You
do. And you hit an unbelievable golden nugget that I don't want it to slip through, and I want to put neon signs around it. It's understanding, feeling appreciation in the moment, because that's what you're going to, when you're looking to attract that out there, right? And you put that conditional thing in place. Like I always say, we can't fuck with Mother Nature, right? If you think you're going to go to Mother Nature and say, this is conditional, she's going to turn around and just laugh at you, right? Go back home until you get it. So I want people to really understand that it's about the appreciation, the feeling of appreciation now in order to become that person. And I learned this going through marriage counseling years ago. Bedros, the counselor, told me, she goes, Dave, as you raise your vibration, they're either going to rise up with you or fall away, but it's not your job. And it was so hard for me to grasp that, Bedros, that it's not, I felt guilty, right? I had the crew from Jersey. I'm a kid from Jersey. And when I knew I was going to marriage, they go, what are you going to marriage counseling for? You don't need a marriage counselor. What's wrong with you, right? And all of a sudden, as I started to move up, I had less and less in common, right? With the crew, with a big percentage of the crew that I grew up with. I go back now, and it's a whole different crew.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Dave, let me speak to that for a moment. You hit on something so valuable. I've got this weird theory. I have yet to be able to justify it, but I do need to hire some researchers to justify this. So I call it my 20-point rule. Here's what I mean. And you said vibration, and we use the word vibration, but maybe some people don't understand vibration or energy. Let me explain it by points, because we all understand IQ points, right? They say the average American is right around 100 IQ points. And what I learned as I grew, as I raised my IQ, well, there's some other points. Your emotional quotient. What is your ability to be emotionally stable and sound and resilient? What about your adversity quotient? How much shit can you handle, right? So we have IQ, EQ, and AQ. IQ, your intelligence, emotional quotient, EQ, and adversity quotient. And what ends up happening is the moment I begin to invest in my 3 Qs, IQ, EQ, and AQ, and they raise. Now, if you and I are just 10 points apart, we're still friends. Even though we went to school together and all that, we're still friends. 15 points, we're still going to be friends. Once we're 20 points apart, if you're 20 points ahead of me and I'm not, the next time you see me, you're going to go, why do I hang out with this joker again? I don't understand what he's talking about. I don't think we share the same values anymore. I think our work ethic is different. I think B's a loser. Now, it's not for any other reason other than you increased your IQ, AQ, EQ, and I didn't. And the moment we're 20 points or more apart, it's over, brother. Doesn't matter if it's family. Doesn't matter if it's a spouse. Doesn't matter if it's friends from high school. It's over.
Yes. And so because people feel guilty, right? And I've lived this. I currently live this with family members. It doesn't matter, right? Right? Life makes the rules.
Yeah.
We don't. We just learn. We either learn how to play those rules or we don't. I love that, man. It's just life 101, and I'm such a firm believer that, look, anybody that's selling any programs or products or services and there's not personal development as a foundation, I just think it's incomplete.
Agreed.
Yeah, it really is. So I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got a lot of things going on. Is there anything that you want to touch on that I didn't talk about that you want to share?
Yeah. If there was one thing I'd want to share is really how you started this. You said it's also how you do things, right? And I really believe that's such a powerful statement. I'm glad you constantly preach that because, listen, man, I've got a friend. He's actually in the other room, and you're about to interview him soon, Steve Eckhart.
Yeah.
The Angry Marine, the project, right? And we call him the Angry Marine with love. He's got a really big heart, but you'd never be able to tell because he's got to crack through that shell. But he lives this way. I live this way. Ray, Jay, like the Navy SEALs, we are very intense. Our default is set to, as Jocko Willink calls it, aggressive. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And he was telling us a story that when the mailman comes to his house and puts the mail in their mailbox, his kids wrestle each other, race each other, trip each other, push each other down with aggression to get to the mailbox. Everything is a competition. And I really believe that how you do things. Dude, when I get up off the couch in the evenings, me and my wife watch one show of whatever, sitcom we're watching. Every night we'll watch one episode. When I get off the couch, I'm walking with purpose and urgency to the restroom. I'm not dragging my feet. I am doing everything with purpose, with intention, with urgency. I don't care if I'm leaving the theater, a restaurant, where we're moving fast with intention and urgency, because I believe, and I've proven it through my own, if I start slouching my shoulders, dragging my head, dragging my feet, the universe will go, this guy's slowing down, he's defeated. We will then begin to decrease opportunities for him. A defeated person cannot lift heavy weight. So we will lessen the weight, the resistance for him. I want resistance. I want emotional, mental resistance, physical resistance, so I can build my muscles, but mental, emotional resistance so I can get mentally tougher. So I will walk with intention, with urgency. Everything I do, I will do with passion and enthusiasm. And I find that more opportunities and doors open up. More people are attracted to me when I'm positive, upbeat, enthusiastic, and urgent. People go, well, B, don't you slow down? Sure I do. The 7 hours when I sleep at night. Other than that, I'm on go. And because of that, the universe puts more opportunity in front of me. So I really would encourage everybody, what you do matters, but how you do it, as you say, matters even more. You better do it with passion, urgency. Like if you're going to do it, go all in on everything all the time. Don't just kind of do it. Go dive head first.
All right, so I can't let you go now. Now you just opened up something, and I can't let you go, big man. You ready? Here it is. This is. You think you're on fire right now? You ready for this? So, life is about momentum. I get up between 4 and 5 every morning without an alarm clock, and I do what's called the Monster Momentum Morning. It's a 2-hour routine before I even go to the gym. Right? It's 2 hours. It's 4 different types of meditation. Talk about your morning routine, big man. How important is that?
Oh, dude, it is a single thing that grounds you, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And by the way, your show is all about entrepreneurship, right? It's two entrepreneurs. And think about it. I could literally come to work, and in fact, this has happened. We had a Christmas party 2 years ago, off-site, at a nice restaurant. We came to work the next day. It was a Monday morning, and the side door was broken. And we had computers stolen. Like, that's what happens with entrepreneurs. You might have employees come to work drunk one day. They might do something stupid. You might have competition come out of nowhere and just start like really aggressively marketing against you. So you must understand that as an entrepreneur, your days, as much as you want to structure them and keep them predictable, there's a high level of unpredictability that is going to happen as a byproduct of being an entrepreneur. I'll give you a great example. Our franchise, Fit Body Bootcamp, is growing very quickly. Because of its quick growth, especially in 2015, 16, and 17, the Federal Trade Commission, who oversees us, goes, hey, you're growing so quickly, we're going to have to do an audit. And they sent Moss Adams, an outside accounting firm, to come and audit us and our numbers and our sales strategies to see if we're doing anything sneaky or under the radar. Now, did I expect that to happen? Did I expect to get that letter from the Federal Trade Commission? Was I looking forward to it? Was that scheduled in my day? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I know that as an entrepreneur, I will face challenges, adversities, things that will piss me off. So I must have a morning routine that sets me up to start stacking W's, wins. So when I wake up first thing in the morning, just like you, between 4 and 5 o'clock, except I do use an alarm, the first thing I do is I never hit the snooze button on my alarm. If I hit the snooze button, I'm telling my subconscious mind that I will choose 10 more minutes of interrupted sleep over waking up and dominating my passion. Right? So that's my first W. I don't hit the snooze button. Then I get up and I drink 30 ounces of water because I read that in a book called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. I drink 30 ounces of water. Chug-a-lug. Off it goes. Shower, go downstairs, and I go right into my gratitude text messages. I don't meditate. I send 3 gratitude text messages to 3 people in my life that I'm grateful for, who I appreciate, and I just thank them. You know why? Most selfish thing I do. Sometime throughout the day, those 3 people are going to respond back and go, Bedros, thank you so much. I really appreciate the text. That was so awesome of you. And I know that when they respond, I'm going to be in some kind of shit as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to go, hey, look at that. I got a positive response, right?
Yep.
And of course, I've got my list. I call it the GSD list. I've got my get shit done list that I wrote the night before. So once I send out my text messages, I get my coffee and my protein shake, 42 grams of protein, and my coffee, sit down on my couch, put my phone on silent, upside down, and push it away from me because I don't want to get tempted. I mean, this is how dialed in my morning routine is. Like, you can set your alarm to me. And then I pull out my notepad with my GSD list, get shit done list, and I do the 3 to 5 things that I need to do to move my business forward. Then by around 8:30 or 9 a.m., I'm heading to the gym, get my workout in, come to the HQ, shower, change, and I take my first meeting around 10:30 or 11 o'clock with my team, and then I start serving my team and my franchisees. And so by doing that, I have a very predictable morning because I don't know how the business day is going to go once I get here, but I do know when shit goes wrong, I've got a lot of stuff done already that's making me money. And that gives me a sense of confidence, of clarity, and I could sleep better at night knowing that we're making money even though we're having problems. Because as an entrepreneur, you're guaranteed to have problems.
Oh, the shit storms are they're gonna pile up. And at the end of the day, your morning routine creates a momentum propeller versus most people have a momentum of an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're trying to dig out of a hole because they're just robotic. And they're thinking that I call it the buoy in the ocean, right? You're letting the wave take you wherever it wants to take you instead of being that propeller and just driving through it.
Dude. Okay, have you read Napoleon Hill's book? Oh man, let me see if I have the book here behind me on my bookshelf. I don't have it.
Whose is it?
Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. Great book, right?
Yep.
In that book, the man wrote it in 1932. The book didn't come out until 2004 or 5 because his estate was like, oh my God, don't put it out. Like, the entire church system is gonna go nuts about us. And in that book, he talks about 2 things. 1, you create your own heaven and hell. I'm not here to argue religion. That's what he says, and I believe that. Number 2, he says there's 2 types of people. There's drifters, and there are people who are consistently on target. Drifters, as you said, the buoy in the ocean, whichever way the water goes is where the buoy goes. Drifting through life, you begin to hit I just imagine when he says drifters, I imagine a river and like a tree branch just floating in that river, and it's hitting rocks and it's hitting the shore and it gets sucked into a little whirlpool and it gets spit back out. That branch has no idea what's going to happen to it next. It's just drifting. Whereas you and I are like a propeller. We have set ourselves up for success. Yeah, that little Scud missile that's going underwater with the propeller might hit a dolphin, a shark, but it's still going to plow through and achieve its outcome. And that's the difference.
I 100%, man. That's why I couldn't let you go, man. This was too important, man. Too explosive. So again, I do want to be respectful of your time. Where can everyone find you? I know you're not hard to find, man.
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Instagram. Instagram/BedrosKeuilian.com, and then of course my site manup.com.
Awesome, man. That's his book, Man Up. And awesome hats too. Love your hats, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Love those hats. Guys, as always, if you're getting value from this, which you absolutely should be, jump on our YouTube, subscribe, like, share. We're really focusing on blowing this up in 2020. And listen, I know, again, you have a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of balls in the air, like any entrepreneur. So I want to thank you for really taking the time and bringing the heat and keeping it real, raw, and live, man.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, Dave.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, guys.